Hi fam. We're gonna try this for the fourth time because I have already tried to record this message and I told myself if it didn't get out with the last one, but we had a little hiccup because my battery's about to die. So anyways, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Oh man, there's been so much Piscean energy in the air, so many emotions, so much water energy, and as a fucking fire sign, I am like, ugh. With water energy. Anyways, I digress. The whole point of this video though is that I've had some experiences in my last week that I feel called to share just what I've taken away from them, and also just like something hit me as I was asking for clarity on a certain experience that happened recently. I was asking for clarity today and it finally hit me because a friend of mine who's also a double luminary, right? So we're both double Leos. We're both sun and rising. And something that we were talking about is how sometimes, a lot of times now, especially on where we're at on our journey, we are not meant to hold the energy for others. We're just meant to allow it to move through us, right? And that can sometimes create some uncomfortable experiences, or what seem to be uncomfortable experiences. You're like, why the fuck is this happening right now? Like, this is so not my energy. Like, let me explain more. I'm going to get into that in a minute. I want to rewind though, because the whole preface of this is something that happened to me last summer. I was out on a walk when I was in Vancouver, and I stopped at a little convenience store. I just got done with the river, and I walk into the convenience store. I had just got done asking the universe, send me my soulmate. I walk into the convenience store, walk back to the cooler, in walks this 50-year-old obese man who starts to hit on me as I am trying to get something out of the cooler. And then proceeds to ask me to take me out for a drink. And I was like, no, I'm good, thank you. And I walk out of the convenience store absolutely infuriated. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I asked for my soulmate, right? And you send me this 50-year-old obese man. Like, what? And in my infuriating little walk home, I heard over my right shoulder, it's not always about you. And I was like, excuse me? Did you ever stop to think that it's not always about you? Oh, I'm 5 Leo placements deep. How do you tell me that it's not about me? Well, fun fact, it's not always about me. And when I let that shit sink in, you just detach from everything. Anyways, so all that to say, I was like, okay, tell me more. Like, what do you mean it's not always about me? And I heard that sometimes, and more times now, because I have dealt with my karma, right? That I am simply the conduit for someone else's experience, AKA serving them their karma, AKA rejecting them. And because I've experienced so much rejection over my first 33 years of my life, I was like, oh, this is a specialty. Great, love this for me. So it's not always about you. And that experience was so potent in my life. Like, it sticks with me everywhere I go. And I often come back to it, especially when I have experiences like that have happened in the last week. I don't even know how else to say that. I had an experience last week where, just like an experience came into my reality, and I was like, this is not my energy. But like, it was tied to someone that I was talking to. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, why am I having this experience right now? Like, this is not, I very much have created last week showed me, I have created a very deep level of peace in my life. And so when things come in and shake that up, I'm like, whoa, Nelly, what be happening right now? Why is this happening? I'm very, very, very aware. Very aware. And what I've realized in talking to my friend about this and just the experience itself, I was like, I started to get triggered, and then I was like, why am I getting triggered? Like, obviously, yes, this was meant to bring up some stuff in me, but this was more so for the other person. And that's the clarity that I had today, was that this experience, this energy had to move through me for this other person to experience, right? In this case, it was to have a healthy conversation about the energy that was being presented to me that wasn't at all, like, I didn't call it into my field. It wasn't like, I was like, this doesn't feel like it's for me. It had its own little caveat, sure, and this is not me bypassing, this is not me pushing anything off, because I was able to see where I was in the situation. But then tables turned, I was like, oh, that experience was for that person to be able to experience a healthy conversation and not confrontation, to be able to come from a heart-led space and still be loved and nurtured through something, even if it wasn't the ideal experience that was being presented to me, right? And it's taken me a couple of days to kind of move through that. I was like, why did that like rattle me in the beginning? Because the energy was trying to move through me. And something that I've realized is that this has happened several times, just in different capacities. And what's interesting is that, you know, our ancestors, right? A lot of these energies, I think, were supposed to move through them, but somewhere along the way, they grasped on. And so when that happens, they grasped on and then internalized it, which then becomes part of genetics, DNA, all the things, right? So if you think like 3 generations down the line, previous to me, right? Same situation could have happened to my great grandma, and she could have latched on, right? Rather than let the energy move through her, right? Because the awareness wasn't there. And because that grasp, right, that internalized it, made it about her, them, they, whatever. And then we have these recurring experiences that happen. And, you know, it's really interesting to come at it from that perspective, because then it's like, oh shit, like there's a lot of energy that probably should have moved through our ancestors that we actually weren't meant to break, if you will, or to deal with in this life. Right? And the message, a lot of what I've been getting recently is like, what you've carried was not yours to carry. Oh, right? It's not always about you. And sometimes other people's decisions, other people's choices impact our lives. It happens like that sometimes. But the main key takeaway from all of this is that it's not always about you. You sometimes simply are just meant to be the conduit for that other person's experience to happen. And also, like, what a beautiful gift that is, right? Because like, not everybody, this is what I've been shown recently, is like gifts that I have that I'm realizing like, oh fuck, not everyone can do that. It takes a certain type of person to be able to to let an energy move through and to literally just be an open channel conduit for energy to move through, for an experience to take place, to not get attached to it or take it personally. Like, yes, it's going to move its own energy as it's moving through you, right? Like, so in this particular instance, I was like, why am I getting triggered by this? Like, this feels really old, right? And yes, it was. It was very old energy. And I was like, okay. But it was clearing as it was moving through me to have this experience for this other person so that they could experience the healthy conversation, no confrontation, coming from a heart-led space, like not a blow up, if you will, right? And in the same term, same, right? Like I also needed that experience, but maybe perhaps not in the same way, right? So sometimes, a lot of times, I know where I'm at in my journey, this energy is just meant to flow through me. And so it's more so when these experiences are happening and it's like, whoa, that's not energy that I normally attract into my field. Like, it's the pause, it's the awareness, and then being like, oh, this energy is moving through me for that person. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. I might still have some things to process in the meantime, but it doesn't mean I have to grasp onto it and hold onto it and make it mine. I think that's where we get lost a lot of times, is that we try and make experiences ours when they're really not ours to be made into. Right? And so this is just to call awareness to, if an experience comes into your reality or your field and you're like, whoa, just take a pause, take a beat, take a breath, come back to your center. Allow the energy to move through you. Don't grasp onto it. Don't try and make it about you. Unless it needs to, right? Like this is, I don't know how many people this is actually going to find, because this is definitely a more advanced tech way of being, if you will, but I know that it'll find the right people. And if you have questions, feel free to pop them in the comments, because I trust that this video will find exactly who it's meant to. But I also understand that this is not for everybody, and it may take years for some people to get here. I pray not, but like, I also realize that not everybody is meant to experience this. There's that too. But if you are having an experience, come back to your body, come back to your breath. Know that it's not always about you. You might be handing that person their rejection, or you might be giving someone the loving, tender conversation that they never got to have with someone else around a similar issue. And believe it or not, that can unlock something in someone else. That can unlock something in their heart space that maybe they needed. And it may not always make sense. It may not always be logical, but it's happening for a reason. So just trust in that. And don't hold so tightly. I feel like I should leave you with a song, but it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it right now. So I guess we'll leave it there. I love y'all so much. I'll see you on the next one.